Okay, so Bruce Marziani, Group 1, Bidding Warriors, here at the Social Media Boot Camp. So, the task at hand, three tips for buyers, three tips for sellers. I've got all kinds of tips and I like to talk, so I'll try my best to narrow it down. For the buyers, definitely get your team together early. So, your attorney, your lender, your home inspector, even if you don't have everyone hired, at least begin the interview process whereby you're talking to them and getting a feel for what they might be able to offer you um, if you do hire them to represent you in your transaction. Here's why. If you get a deal going, you get an accepted offer, you don't want to be scrambling for professionals to help you. You want to be able to move along at a steady pace because this is a very, very competitive market, and for you to get bounced is very, very easy if you're not ready to go. So there's one suggestion. Another suggestion, get pre-approved. Don't spend time trying to find the property online or wishing on a wishing star that a property that meets all your needs is going to come popping up, and then when it does, then you'll go ahead and get pre-approved. It never ever makes sense to wait on getting pre-approved. I've got a million reasons why. I talk about it ad nauseum on my YouTube page. You can look it up. It's called Bruce's Buzz if you want to check it out. I've got quite a number of videos on why it makes sense to get pre-approved all the time. There is no such thing as a reason as to why it would not make sense. Okay, and lastly, spend time building rapport with your buyer's agent. So many times in my career, when I work with a new buyer, maybe they found me online, or maybe they found my business card or something like that somewhere, or maybe they just need someone to let them into a property, and I'm just sort of a guy that has keys or access to the property, and I drive around and sort of let them in. When you don't spend time building rapport with your buyer's agent, it really makes a straining relationship, not only for yourself, but for them as well. And to get everyone working together harmoniously definitely is in your best advantage in terms of getting a deal done on time, and getting a deal done in a way that is helpful and useful to you. Terms can always be negotiated, and you want to be in good connectivity with your agent so that things can work out in your favor. Okay, now let's flip to the sell side. I would suggest that when you are interested in hiring a listing agent, be quite careful. It's good to get referrals from people who know the agent or who are related to the agent, but I would suggest being quite careful with things like that because just liking an agent or having heard about an agent does not necessarily mean that the agent will be best for you. Definitely interview a solid three agents or so and pick the one that's best for you. This isn't a likability test. This isn't. It's cool if you like your agent, and certainly if you were to hire me, I hope that you do like me, and I want you to like me. But this isn't a popularity contest. This isn't like who smiles the cutest. This is the person who is best to sell your home at the highest price possible and at the best terms possible for you. And that may or may not be your neighbor down the street's agent or your sister's best friend's girlfriend. It may be them, but it might not be. I would suggest interviewing and finding out. Every agent deserves a fair chance to express themselves and to prove their value. So that's one piece of advice. Another piece of advice, I would try to choose an agent who is somewhat local to your marketplace and understands the locale there. There's many reasons why this is important. I'll just nail one of them for you. Certainly when they're showing the home or when they're talking about the listing or advertising the listing, they know and understand the lay of the land, and that can help them in terms of getting the property sold. Also, if they're local, they will probably be quite friendly with a good number of other local agents, and that friendliness will influence them to reach out and readily get a deal together. I think it could be a very good idea for you. How many tips did I give so far? I think I'm at 3, but um, let's let's try to go with another tip for a seller here. So in this competitive market, I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense to delay with your listing. If if you want to list it, list it. If the property expires, you can always relist with that same agent, or if things didn't go well with that agent, you can always interview 3 more agents or whatever have you when the listing expires. We're still dealing with low inventory. There's some different opinions out there on whether the market's up, whether the market's down. My opinion is it sort of depends on how you ask the questions and what details go in to the way that you're trying to assess the statistics on it. But I don't think it makes sense to delay your sale. I don't know that it makes sense to wait for a brighter day in most instances. Again, if the property sells at a price that you are comfortable with and under terms that benefit you, and the sale happens, great, congratulations. If it's not and the property expires, you can always relist. You can always relist in 6 months or however long your listing agreement is for. In any event, I've spoken to a number of sellers that, for one reason or another, believe that it makes sense to wait. If your issue is that you don't necessarily have someplace else to go lined up, and that's why you're a little bit concerned about listing the property, in this market here, you can always create a contingency that suggests that you want to hold uh, any closing date until such a time that you have found another home to move into. So the buyer knows, kind of going into it, that they're kind of working on your timeline. Um, you can always try that and see how it goes. So there are plenty of other listing tips that I have, but in the interest of brevity, I hope this was helpful. Bruce over now. Thanks so much.